So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be doing a reading out of the poem and then showing off my annotations of it. While I'm reading off the poem, images are going to pop up on screen that either have a literal meaning to what the text is saying and what the poem I think means, or it's going to be a figurative or metaphorical, I don't even know if that's a word, but a metaphor for what's happening in the poem. So anyways, here's my reading of the poem, and then I'll talk about my annotation of it. I'm writing to tell you that yes, indeed, we have noticed you have a big new pink eraser. We are well aware you are trying to use it. Erasing your needs is a good idea, of course. The bleeding heart liberals and communists can stop feeling bad for the stealing and raping and murdering, and we can all move on and be reconciled, except I'm graffiti. Except mistakes were made. She painted 3 white X's on the wall of a grocery store. 1, 2, 3. Then they were erased. Except I am graffiti. Except mistakes were made. The X's were made out of milk because they took our food. 1, 2, 3. Then we were erased. Except I am graffiti. Except mistakes were made. We're the singing remnants left over after. The bomb went off in slow motion, over a century instead of a fractionated second. It's too much to process, so we make things instead. We're the singing remnants left over after. The costumes have been made, collected up, put in a plastic bag full of intentions for another time, another project. Except I am graffiti, and mistakes were made. So these are my annotations. I used the 12 steps you sent us on Google Docs, and here it is. So for the yellow I have highlighted, that is for important keywords that when I first read through of it, these are the lines that stuck out to me. So that's that. The blue, anything highlighted in blue, is meant for repetition. So there wasn't a clear rhyme format, but certain lines were repeated a lot. The green I have for similes and metaphors, ones such as the costumes have been made, collected up, put in a plastic bag full of attentions for another time, and the X's were made out of milk because they took our food. The kind of orangey tan-ish color, not tan, but peach color, I would say, that is for interesting use of spelling and punctuation. And I highlighted the I's that are not capitalized, and some of the periods where they are, seeing how there's a lot longer sentences and compared to shorter ones. This might just be because of like a copying or pasting issue, but that's what I found. The purple stands for the author's attitude on the situation and how poorly the natives were treated. You can see in one of the first lines I highlighted, we are well aware you are trying to use it. Erasing Indians is a good idea, of course. You can hear her kind of joking, kind of making play, making it a bit more humorous, a bit more funny, but also keeping it serious, which I wrote up there in the potential theme, kind of making it sound like, which is the truth, that it's so absurd of this whole idea in the first place, and it's even more absurd that it was that it happened. I highlighted some other lines too, such as we're the singing remnants left over after, and it's too much to process, so we make things instead. These are lines that I thought stuck out to me about what Leanne Simpson was saying. And then in the peachish orange color, I just highlighted some of the weird spelling and punctuation things I found. This could just be a copying issue where you bring it over to the doc but I noticed that some of the I's weren't capitalized, and some of the sentences ran on for longer and were in weird places. Like in the first couple lines, there isn't a period for a while until, like, I'm not gonna count, but like the 20th line. So that's why I highlighted that. And yeah, that's my annotation of it. This is what I set up here for the potential theme. I think that she used the metaphor of graffiti and how she is graffiti. What I think she means by that is that graffiti is looked down upon by authority, and it is used to claim your mark or your tag. She and her people have been treated terribly and have tried to be turned into a white person or a normal person, and that graffiti, I think, represents your culture, and that's why it is called I'm Graffiti. So anyways, that's my annotation and reading of it. Yeah.